map and my statement, we've handed to you a copy of the application submitted with the county claim for this operation. Jim Finnegan is the developer of Stringtown Lakes. Stringtown Lakes is going to be a subdivision southwest of Fox Creek School. Examination of the property and soil suggested that the water table and the water in the property area required that the lake be created. The engineer indicated the lake was going to require removal of gravel. Accordingly, we were required by law to ask for a permit to excavate gravel at this site. If you've been attending the Zoning Board of Appeals meetings, you know that the issue of health and safety, primarily as school students, is the biggest issue that the Zoning Board of Appeals has been looking at. Safety, I'll go through every issue very quickly. The lake that's being created will be surrounded on the north across the north-east-west road with a fence, and that fence will head, and that's a half mile, sorry, and then the fence will go south to about 300, 400, 500 feet. That behind that fence will be an 8-foot berm. Depending on what the zoning board tells us, it may have trees on top of that. The gravel extraction process is entirely wet, from the removal from the water all the way back to the processing area. You have the processing area in front of you. The processing area is almost 2,500 feet from the lot line of your school. From that lot line is an additional 400 feet to the school. In between is a detention basin. One of the issues that's been a big issue and that you've been emailed about has been the dust issue, and you've heard from people telling you about Dr. Chiodo. Chiodo was an expert in everything. He's a hired gun. He's testified well more than 200 times. He's testified on everything from amusement park equipment to ballistics to toxic torts to radon to everything else. The only thing he's never testified before is gravel. He's never been to a gravel pit. He's never studied a gravel pit. He's never tested a gravel pit. We, however, spent thousands and thousands of dollars to test gravel pits. Over a 3-week period last year, at 3 different gravel pits in the area to find out the issues regarding dust and noise. One of the things I want to tell you is that the dust and the noise, dust will drop out of the air within 100 feet, 150 feet. Our expert says to make the setback 300 feet. We've made the setback almost 3,000 feet. The noise will not leave the property. It's well below the federal standards. One of the things everybody's talking about is silicosis. One of the things Mr. Chiodo did not say about silicosis is that it's not particularly common, and in fact in McLean County it's not common at all. Silica is sand. It's related to sand. It's everywhere. It's in this building. It's in this room right now. It's in the bricks. It's in the drywall. It's everywhere. The best question asked was by a young man who wanted to know if he worked at this pit whether he was going to get silicosis, and the doctor says it only depends on your exposure. We've had an expert look at it, test it. He's committed to doing further testing. We are committed to doing further testing all the way through this process. I appreciate the people's concern about the pit, but we started with that concern to start with.
Madam President, I think we've reached that 3 minutes.
Can I just wrap up with a couple things? Certainly. Of all the people that have sent you emails, I can tell you only one person, only one parent of a student appeared before the Zoning Board of Appeals. Historically, this board has not gotten involved in zoning matters, and if you choose to, then I'd like to know if we have standards on when you're going to get involved and what those standards are. Otherwise, I would assume that this would be just a political issue, and that'd be nice to know it, and that's not something this board normally does. Mr. Finnegan plans the most up-to-date, most smallest, most time-limited gravel operation in McLean County history for the purposes of creating a subdivision.